All right, we're here with Knute Buehler. Knute, we're here because in the last week or so, you announced that you were departing. Is that the right word, from the Republican Party?
Yeah, departing is probably the right word. After 4 decades, I decided that I would be more comfortable being a non-affiliated voter in Oregon, or what some describe as a small I independent in Oregon, not part of the independent party.
So quickly walk us through your decision tree, if you will.
Well, Mark, really, it was the events of this January, progressively just made it not tolerable for me any longer to be in the Republican Party. It really started with Trump's, trying to overturn the election, strong arming Republican office holders across the country, some of who I know personally, that are good people, that are strong conservatives. I thought was terribly wrong and dangerous for our country. And then Trump inciting the attack on the Capitol, which I think is clearly an impeachable offense. And then the final straw really was the statement by the Oregon Republican Party that the attack on the Capitol was a false flag operation, really led by Antifa, in comparing it to the Reichstag attack, and that the 10 Republican House members who voted to impeach President Trump were traitors. That was just the last straw. And after giving it a thought for a couple of days, I changed my registration to non-affiliated.
So does that mean that your career in politics in Oregon is over?
Well, I mean, I've never seen it as a career. I see my involvement in politics as a term of service. I think everyone should serve if they can. I thought the most important place to serve when I was ready to do that was our political system, which was markedly underperforming, both the Democrats and Republicans for that matter. I chose to try to have impact in the Republican Party. So I've never really seen it as a career. I doubt I'll run for office again, but I'll certainly stay involved helping good people run for office. I think I have some experience and resources that can help good people who really want to solve big problems. And I may weigh in on a few key policy issues, but I think the chances are pretty slim that personally I'd run for office again.
So Knute, I know a number of Portlanders who are fiscally conservative Democrats or independents who've been excited about you for quite some time and who are now experiencing what can best be described as whiplash.
Yeah.
Whiplash in terms of their allegiance to a sharp, moderate, pro-choice Republican who ran for Secretary of State, who ran against Kate Brown for governor, and in so doing, during that period of time, you were pretty highly critical of the president. You do not emerge victorious. You lose to Kate Brown. You then decide to run for Congress in 2020 in the 2nd District. You wrap yourselves and embrace Donald Trump. There's the first whiplash. And then you lose that race. And here you are now distancing yourself. So what do you say to those supporters?
Well, I don't agree with how you framed the question first, Mark. My position with Trump has been remarkably consistent all the way through my whole political involvement in Oregon, and I don't believe in blind loyalty to anyone. Not Trump, not the Republican Party. When Trump has been right, I've agreed with him. When he's been wrong, I've been one of the few in Oregon who's spoke out against him. And if you look at my run in Congress, I certainly continue to criticize his leadership style, his communication. I do think that a lot of his policies were right on and successful, and the right policies for the 2nd Congressional District in Oregon. Look, when I started running for the 2nd Congressional District, it was a whole different world in a lot of ways. We had one of the best performing economies in the history of this nation, record low unemployment, record high stock market. Trump had made some great moves in the Middle East, defeating ISIS, taking two of the worst terrorists in the world off the battlefield. Those were decreased regulations and taxes, which were good for the second congressional district. Those are all big accomplishments. And the alternative at that time was not very good on the left. It was Bernie Sanders, who's an avowed socialist. So that choice was pretty easy when I decided to run for Congress. And I see my speaking out now is consistent with that. Again, I'm an independent minded person. When Trump is wrong, I'll say so. He's right, I'll also speak up and say so.
Knute, with all due respect, there's no one who has been paying attention to your career who doesn't think that there was a significant change in your rhetoric when you were running for Congress in a district that is solidly pro-Trump from when you were running for governor. I mean, that's not just my impression, that's impression by a lot of people who are fans of yours.
Well, I don't agree. I mean, the issues are that you stress when you run for governor, healthcare, education, the crisis, the ongoing budget crisis in this state is very different than when you're running for a federal office. It's to a certain extent, it's apples and oranges, and it's one of emphasis of what issues are emphasized that you talk about. But I've been rock solid, consistent on my position on those, on most of the policy issues, and including my position on Trump.
So what do we make of the larger challenge that this state faces, which is, these are my words, not yours, you can agree, we basically have a bankrupt Republican Party. And voters aren't really being offered, in the marketplace of ideas that is supposedly our democracy, voters are not being offered a reasonable alternative. There wasn't a credible candidate in most of the statewide races in Oregon last year. How is this state ever going to have a Republican Party that is sane?
I think it's an excellent question. I mean, the Oregon Republican Party, if they want to see its future, just look to its neighbor in the South and the increasing irrelevance of the Republican Party in California politics. The single mission of any political party is to get their members elected to office. And for whatever reason, the Oregon Republican Party has lost focus on the key mission, and it's become little more than a debate society for a platform which probably less than 1% of voters even know exist. It's a key question. I tried for 6 years to expand, the tent, so to speak, of the Oregon Republican Party. It's pretty simple math. You have to get 51% of the voters, sometimes just a plurality of the votes to win. But, when you have, the leading candidates last election cycle in Oregon, the attorney general candidate was an ex-felon and not even a lawyer. And, the Senate candidate was a QAnon conspiracy theorist. That doesn't bid well for the future of the Oregon Republican Party. Now, having said that, I think there is wonderful opportunity. I think there's going to be a growing schism in the Democratic Party between the liberal wing and the progressives. I think the business community in all across the state feels that they don't have a home right now, and I do think Trump rightfully energized and identify issues that the working class feels are very important, and they've been shut out of politics and forgotten for too long. And there is a coalition to be formed that the Oregon Republican Party can be successful, but it's not going to be successful by signing on to wacky conspiracy theories. That's a dead end if I ever saw one.
Why